I could no longer hold back the hot tears from pouring out of me. I simply just cried and reflected indifferently on the taste of my tears, on the taste of regret. Can I start now, then? This method of torture is very simple. I'll nail one of these into the joint on the end of your left pinky finger. Then I'll nail each one in order until I get to your thumb. And then I'll go back to your pinky and nail each one into the joint in the middle. So on and so on until I hammer 15 nails into your left hand. When that's over with, I'll do your right hand next. After that, if you are still conscious, I will tell you. There are a lot of nerves bundled in your fingertips, so it hurts far more than you could imagine. Some people apparently pass out before you finish hammering 30 nails into their hands, so Mion pressed the tip of a nail to my left pinky finger. My wrists, my arms, and all the joints on my fingers were strapped in so tightly it hurt, and I couldn't even twitch. I didn't hesitate at all when I was torturing the others. Why do I hesitate now? If this will satisfy your demon, Mion. If it will sate the demon, then do to me what you will. Are you serious? Compared to how much I hurt Mion, this is nothing, right? Do as much as you want. In exchange, promise me 2 things. Mion was silent. She did, however, wait for me to speak. After you are satisfied with causing me pain, forgive Shion. She's been punished enough to make up for her crime of sneaking into the storehouse, hasn't she? You. After all this, you can still worry about Shion more than yourself? The other thing is that when you've had your fill, you disappear. Give that body back to Mion. That's all. You know you are you not even considering possibly begging for your life or anything? Can I ask you to promise 3 things instead of 2? The third is to leave me alive. You said 2 in the beginning, didn't you? So you can't have any more. That's a shame. In such an abnormal situation, Mayo and I laughed quietly together, as if sharing in a stupid joke. I probably won't keep these promises. Understand? I am a demon after all. I guess there's nothing I can do then. I recalled tightening my hands into fists when enduring the pain at the dentist's office. Right now, though, they were opened all the way to my fingertips, so I couldn't even grip them. So instead, I tightened my toes. Okay, do it. I've prepared myself already, so do it. You waiting like this to hammer the nails in is scarier. It's going to diminish my readiness after all. Mion put down the hammer and gently stroked my cheek. Kei-chan, I'll agree to just a third thing, okay? Huh? My third wish, to save me. She will agree to it? Your first wish, to save Shion. That's long done for. The demon will kill her. It's already been decided, so I can't stop it. So give up on that. Her delicate fingers slid from my cheek to my chin. As for your second wish, to give this body back to Mion, that won't happen either. After today, Mion will never come back. From today on, even if my body is here, it will be just a body, because the Oni has taken it over. That isn't true. Mion is Mion. Don't say such sad things like that because she won't ever come back. Can you hear it? That sound. Mion gently closed her eyes and listened. I definitely heard it as well. It was a dull noise that repeated on fixed intervals, a low noise accompanied by vibrations. A lot of people were ramming the iron doors to this underground ritual storehouse. You are late, so Rena probably called Oishi. That spaced out girl being so quick thinking was the one thing I didn't anticipate. I'll agree with you there. Mion grinned like she had been outwitted, then took something that looked like an electric razor out of her pocket. When she pressed the switch, blue sparks flew out with a snapping noise. You've probably never seen one before, right? It's a real stun gun. It's illegal, and its output has been increased quite a bit. Was that what you hit me with before? That's not a toy children should be playing with, you know. Coo. You are right. She seemed to want to use the stun gun on me. Unable to move, I felt her press the cool lump of metal to my neck. I heard a roar as though they had broken down the first large door. The halls were a bit complex, but aside from the door to this very torture chamber, there was nothing in their way. I won't kill you, but I will have you go to sleep for a bit, Kei-chan. Oishi will be here soon. This will only hurt a bit. Feeling the same shock as before, gritting my teeth wasn't going to help much, but I clenched them tight anyway. However, just as she did when she was about to hammer the nails in, she hesitated a little. I cracked open my tightly closed eyes. I'm sorry for disgracing Mion. I made a promise before coming in here. Whatever happens, the Mion inside my heart won't change. Look, forget about that. If you ever see me after today, don't come near me. By then it will be the demon that inherited my corpse. What are you talking about? Just as I tried to say that, a much stronger light than before shined, and like a television being switched off, my consciousness went black. June 1983, a string of disappearances occurred in Hinamizawa Village. The suspect is Mion Sonozaki. She is suspected to have kidnapped 5 residents between June 19th and the 21st, imprisoned and killed them. Preliminary investigations on the incident were delayed at the time due to insufficient evidence, but was resolved coincidentally and shockingly. On the morning of the 23rd, a vehicle patrolling the Sonozaki property heard screams from inside and rushed in as an emergency measure. They secured the suspect's younger sister and her 2 missing classmates. The suspect fled the scene. Deep in the detached basement on the Sonozaki property, which is believed to have been used to kill those who disappeared, we discovered hair, flakes of skin, blood. We concluded that the missing persons were tortured in the torture chamber. However, their remains still have not been found. At one of her imprisoned classmates' advice, we continued searching the detached basement of the Sonozaki property, which was where they were imprisoned. Believing that they were there. However, we still have not located them or the suspect's escape route. In addition, investigations are continuing as to our participation in the serial freak death incidents of recent years, thinking it would give some clue. But no evidence that Mion Sonozaki was involved, either directly or indirectly, has been found. There are still many unclear points as to the motive behind the incident, and as is those of the Sonozaki family and the residents of Hinamizawa have been extremely uncooperative in assisting us, we expect to require a long time to clarify them. The opinion of a local officer knowledgeable about the region is that this may have been a lynching, an internal form of punishing sacrilegious acts carried out against the beliefs of Hinamizawa. It is clear that these incidents are particularly rooted in this region, and the prefectural police department has ordered a cautious investigation. We anticipated gaining valuable clues from the missing persons believed to have been imprisoned for the longest time, Shion Sonozaki, the suspect's younger sister, but her mind was stricken by the grave after effects of the incident, and she has not been in a state of mind to properly answer any questions about what she knows. The psychiatrist concluded that she is in a temporary state of shock, but it doesn't seem hopeful that she will recover today either. Only a few days passed since that time. After that, I was rescued by Oishi-san and his subordinates, whom Rina had called in. Aside from my extremely blank state of mind, I had no external injuries. The most I had was a small burn mark from where the stun gun hit me. As I was having a checkup in the hospital, Oishi-san asked me all sorts of things, but I don't really remember what he asked or how I answered him. From what I heard, surprisingly, Mion still had not been captured. There were apparently a great many hallways and small rooms extending out from the depths of the prison. It wouldn't be strange if she had fled to one of those and hidden herself. The one fortunate aspect amidst all the misfortune was that Shion had been safely secured by the police. When I last saw Mion, it seemed like she was going to take me with her and then kill me. She probably didn't have enough time to, though, since Oishi-san came running in faster than she predicted. That was the only really fortunate thing to have happened. Of course, the rescued Shion, despite having no external wounds, now had a big deep wound in her heart. She was in a severe state of confusion when they rescued her, and apparently she bit the police officers trying to resist. From what he heard, she was seeing Mion and everyone she saw. Hated not only the hospital, but even her own home. and had shut herself up somewhere in Shishibo, hiding her location. Additionally, in fear that Mion would come for her, she was moving from place to place every day, and even her parents weren't sure where she actually was. Wherever she was living, even now, Shion was spending her days in fear of Mion's shadow. The police were investigating the Sanazaki's underground storehouse at this moment, since they couldn't find the remains of the other sacrifices. Had Mion thrown the corpses into a well? I had a feeling I had said that to him. That meant a hidden tunnel, vertical like a well, was somewhere in those underground passages. The secret underground, without any maps or architectural drawings, which had swallowed up the remains of Rika-chan, Satako, and everyone else, was still unwilling to speak the truth. I was brought back to that basement again, too, for an on-site inspection or something. But I did not remember being of any help. I never wanted to go back there again. For days afterward, the Sonozakis living in Okinomiya, in other words Mion and Shion's parents, the big-name Yakuza, would come to our house to apologize, bringing many of their followers with them. However, much of my parents refused it. They piled up many 100,000 yen bills, calling it consolation money, every day. The amount of money grew each day, and after it had passed 2,000,000 yen, they were then given an envelope containing a letter. I don't know what was written in the letter. My parents talked about it by themselves for 2 whole nights, and decided to move away. I see. You are moving, huh? When? At the end of next month. I won't even have been in Hinamizawa for half a year. I'll be lonely. I'm the only one left. Rena smiled sadly. If I had just said yeah, I thought it would make her even more lonely, so I changed the subject. Here's something to think about. That's how I broached it. Mion hadn't actually fled, but had been demoned away in the truest sense of the term. Where she went after she disappeared, that we did not know. What was there, where she had disappeared to? I hoped there was a hobby shop dealing in imports, the kind Mion liked. In that place, she would definitely be free from the burdensome fetters of her family, and live not as Mion Sonozaki, but as just Mion, and enjoy herself. Maybe she has already met up with Satako and Rika-chan. They must also have been waiting for the day Rena and I would join them, spending all our time doing club activities, as lively as they always were. When I told Rena that, she smiled and nodded to me. The incidents that the Sunzaki family had been trying so hard to hide, too, were exposed to the magazines from this single tiny scene. The serial incidents of recent years were all pulled up like a long vine in the ground, one by one, and for many days news of it was brought up on talk and variety shows. The shows, which were comedic and silly, never once tried to touch upon the grim, heavy history that Mion had been bearing. It made me mad to see them bringing the stuff up in jest, but there was nothing I could do about it now. How big an impression would these short few weeks I spent in Hinamizawa have on my life? During these few weeks, I met my best friends and had the best experiences of my life. I would probably never forget it for as long as I lived. As for the distorted image of Mion that the media created, after the masses got tired of treating her like a plaything, they would ball her up, throw her in the trash, and then she would fade from their memories. As one of the few people who knew the real Mion, I must always make sure I remember her. Beyond any doubt, that will surely become my offering to her. The sky reached so far up, and towering cumulonimbus clouds flowed through it. The real summer was just before our eyes. Even now, whenever 10 p.m. came around, I would expect a phone call from Shion, or Mion, rather. Now that everything was over, of course she would never call me. But if it was precisely because she wouldn't call me that I was scared of who would call me this time. Plus, Mion still had not been caught. I could not say for sure that everything was completely over. On the other side of that fear, though, were my prayers that Mion was safe. When I thought like that, I was able to sleep, even with such terrifying thoughts. The lights were off. Before, her attacking when the lights were off was something that scared me. However, that feeling changed to regret within 2 days. The moonlight filtering through the gap in the curtains shone onto the desk and illuminated a doll. That's right, the doll that I should have given to Mion that day. She said it was an import from England or something, and was all the rage, didn't she? From what Shion said, the most popular among them were the ones wearing the fluffy dress. After being released from the incident, the first place I went to was that toy store. Everything was apparently sold out besides the things on the storefront displays. I was refused once when they said they wouldn't sell the display products, but when they realized I was Survivor A from that incident, I immediately consented. Of course, even if I bought it, I might never have the chance to give it to her again. Even knowing that, I waited for the opportunity to give it to her. I waited like this for the opportunity with it on the desk so I could give it to her at any time. Plunk. There was a weird noise. It was a noise I was not used to hearing. It was too big to be raindrops, and it was completely different from the sound lost bugs make when they ram into fluorescent lights. I figured I must have misheard and nestled back into my futon. Plunk. The noise happened again. I wasn't hearing things. I definitely heard it. Where was it coming from? I got up and turned on the light. If there was a second, there would be a third. From where, though? I listened carefully. Plunk. The window. Some sort of pebbles were colliding with my window. When I realized they weren't being blown there by the wind, but rather being thrown by a person, I gave a start. I looked at the clock. It was 2 a.m. Who would it be? At a time like this, I quietly peek out front through the gap in the curtains. In the light at the gate, despite it being so late, I saw someone. They picked up a piece of gravel and threw it at the window. It hit the window and made a plonking noise. Who was it? Ah, I caught my breath in surprise. If my eyes weren't deceiving me, that person was Mion. I threw open the window and looked at the figure again. My, my eyes certainly weren't deceiving me. It was Mion. It was Mion. She was alive. Mion pressed her index finger to her lips and made a shh motion so I would not shout. If she hadn't, well, I was nearly about to cry out. Mion was in a very delicate position right now. Even if it was the middle of the night, I shouldn't call out her name. I waved to her, gesturing that I would be right over, flung on my coat atop my pajamas, and flew out the door. I quickly hit the brakes just before going down the stairs. Although happiness was sprouting within me, I had the sad feeling that this would be our final parting. So I went back to my room again and grabbed the doll. If there was a God, I don't think I would have ever thanked him as much as today, even if it would be the last time we ever saw each other. I was so grateful for this one chance to give it to her. I slipped into my sandals, unlocked the door, unhooked the chain, and leaped out of the house. Mion, it's been a while. How are you? Been doing all right? It was like how we used to meet every morning. Mion waved to me and responded like she always did. It was doubtlessly Mion. It was the real Mion. Are you all right? Hanging around this place? I really shouldn't be. She certainly wasn't acting like she knew the police were following her. It was almost like she was a patient who had gotten tired of staying in the hospital and snuck out. Her speech was relaxed enough to make me think that, and I couldn't help but be surprised. That relaxation, I thought, was more like Mion, and I was happy for it. Anyway, what is wrong? What do you need at this hour? I wanted to talk to you one last time. That was when I noticed them. On Mion's forehead were big droplets of sweat. Her expression, too, which I had thought to be a satisfied smile, was upon closer inspection trembling slightly, and I realized that she was forcing it. Well, I can't stay for any longer. A pained note was beginning to enter her words as well, as if just smiling was a feat for her. Are you all right? Are you not feeling well? I tried. This is so hard until now, but I can tell I'm done. This is my limit. They're about to come up behind me to take me away. Mion's smile crumbled and started to stiffen. Did she push herself this much to come all this way for me? Her laughter cut off and changed into rough breathing. I reached out to rub her back, but she knocked me away. Are you okay? Don't force yourself. Oh, that's right. I had something to give you, Mion. This doll. I had wanted to do this one last thing, because I knew how little time you had left. But this last thing, my stomach is burning. Mion took a meat cleaver-like knife and stabbed me and pushed it in tight and took it and twisted it. Me on? Hey, what? What? It hurts. I made it. I made it. I cowered on the ground. My stomach was so hot, it was almost spewing fire. Mion watched it, then took a few steps back and cackled. I've done it. I've done it all. That's everyone I wanted to kill. The last words Mion left me with that day came back to me. After today, Mion will never come back. From today on, even if my body is here, a body is all it will be. By then, the demon will have taken it over. The demon. The demon. The demon. Me, on. This can't. I thought we had finally been able to meet. This can't. Mion. In a pool of blood of my own design, it's a doll I bought for Mion. Dyed in red. So red. Mion. The good fortune of having been allowed to meet Mion once more, and the misfortune of that meeting being torn apart before my eyes. Should I be grateful or curse it? My emotions were neither of those, as my consciousness sunk deep into a black swamp. The doll I bought for Mion, the blood, had ruined it. No matter how I scrubbed and scrubbed, it had needlessly been ruined. Ruined. The sad moon was so white it looked frozen. June 28th, 1983. A violent incident occurred in Hinamizawa Village, Shishibone City. The victim was Keiichi Maebara, also a victim of the previous string of disappearances. At around 2 a.m., he was stabbed in the stomach with a bladed object by the suspect of the last case and was gravely wounded. He was discovered when his parents woke up and was then transported to the clinic. He escaped death. The criminal fled the scene. On the same day, at approximately the same time, a fall accident occurred in the Kamishiki apartment complex in Shishibone City. The victim was Shion Sonozaki, also a victim of the previous string of disappearances. Late on the same night, neighbors overheard her having a big fight with someone and informed the manager. The manager used a master key to enter the room and discovered that the victim had fallen from her 8th floor balcony to her death. The room had been torn apart and appeared to show traces of a fight. One neighbor has frequently visited the Sunzaki house for a long time and testified that he heard what sounded just like the two sisters having a fight, trading insults back and forth. We believe that this was related to the injury case that occurred the same day in Hinamizawa village, perpetrated by said incident suspect, and did a thorough search of the room, but we could not find any traces that would imply that the victim was present. The victim fell straight down into the foliage of a parking strip. Her neck broke and she died immediately. Her clothing was disheveled and had markings that would imply a scuffle. We also believe, however, that it could have been an insanity-induced suicide attempt based on the particular mental state of the victim after the incident. We are conducting a thorough examination on both fronts, suicide and homicide. Only for 5 minutes, understand? Please try not to excite him. Yes, yes, I'll be careful. Click-clack. The door opened, and as I expected, Oishi-san came in. Hello, hello, Maebara-san. It's been a while, hasn't it? Tell me, how have you been since then? The doctor says my post-operative recovery seems to be going smoothly, but I think I got worse when I saw your face. You wound me. As Oishi-san gave a laugh that smelled of sweat, he handed Mom a bag of assorted cooked candies he must have purchased from the souvenir corner on the first floor of the hospital. Excuse me, Mrs. Maebara. Would it be possible for me to talk to Keiji-kun for just a few minutes? Mom clearly was not pleased at the thought of a police officer talking to her son without her there. However, I insisted. Mom, sorry, just a little while. Just 5 minutes, okay? Though grudgingly, Mom left the room. When she closed the door, Oishi-san grinned widely and looked around the room. A room to yourself? How high class. My old lady always gets a shared room, you know. It is quite lively, however. Seems like you are a higher rank if you have a worse disease in places like that. The sicker you are, the prouder you are, or maybe the more arrogant. Oishi-san, we only have 5 minutes. I would like it if these were the last 5 minutes we ever saw each other. I don't have any connection to Hinamizawa anymore, and this isn't in Hinamizawa anymore either. Yes, because there aren't any general hospitals in Okinomiya. Mind if I take a seat? Down we go. This was a large university hospital in Shishibone City. It was splendidly urban, entirely different from the likes of Hinamizawa and Okinomiya. It was hard to believe Hinamizawa was part of the same city. When does it look like you will get transferred? Don't know. I'm ready to go whenever, though. Our moving plans were delayed a little because of my serious injury. My parents had already left the house in Hinamizawa, though, and were living in our new one. They planned to have me transfer hospitals to be closer to the new house once I had recovered enough to be taken there. Please, don't come to where I am transferring. I really will get worse then. Man, you really do hate me. It may just be my job, but that stings. That's why I brought you all kinds of lovely souvenirs in atonement. You didn't need to bring an assortment of cookies for that. Well, you see, there aren't actually cookies in there. Look. Oishi-san pulls open the can of cookies, and I'm stretching my scar. I didn't know what you were into, Maebara-san, so I brought all sorts of things. See all sorts of cute looking ones from westerns to comic strips. Lately they have this sort of H manga aimed at girls too. Don't bring porn in here. Take them away and go home. I thought for sure a healthy young person like you would be feeling a little needy, being cooped up in a place like this for so long. If you stayed here too long, the only fetish you'll end up with a nurse is a nurse one you know. Hey, nurses are fucking sexy, okay? Nurses are fucking sexy. You don't even know Oshi. There are plenty of other beautiful things in this world besides. Oh, yeah, that's true. That is true. Don't decide what to major at now. Keep your options open. My. You need to be a more all-round type of person. I gave Oishi-san's vulgar laughter a pained grin. Somehow or other, I understood. The fact that Oishi-san was bringing it up like this meant they must have had something important to talk about. The incident with Shion-san really was unfortunate. The night I was stabbed by Mion, Shion fell from her balcony and died. They said the police were investigating all possibilities. Accident, suicide, and homicide, but could have only been Mion's doing. Mion found out where Shion was hiding and pushed her down to her death. Nothing else was conceivable. It could not have been an accident. It was Mion. It had to be. The criminology guys are saying it had to be a suicide, but I'm of the same opinion as you, Maybara-san. She pushed Shion-san and also stabbed you. In one night. Has Mion still not been found? Oh, that's right. That's why I came here to tell you today. Yes, we actually did find her. What? Learning that felt rather strange to me. I was partly relieved that the incident was truly over, and I was partly sorry that my best friend had finally been caught. I felt many other things, too. My heart was a maze of emotions. That's not all. In the Sonozaki House catacombs, we found a hidden well. Just as you said, Maybara-san, we found the remains of all those who disappeared at the bottom. I see. That sliver of hope, that possibility I had believed in, that Rika-chan and Satako were alive, just from the fact that their remains had not been found. Gone. It was incredibly well hidden in those catacombs. I mean, it was in the blind spot of another blind spot. It was a vertical tunnel dug out like a well. There was a ladder set up there, and when we went all the way down, there was another tunnel built there going through it. When we followed it 100 meters, we found ourselves at the mouth of an old, unused well in the mountains. I wonder if it was a secret escape route a previous Sonozaki family leader built. Probably was. Maybe it was made in the Meiji era. Still, I'm impressed they built something like that. So everyone's remains were at the bottom. Yes. Even deeper down than the escape path, there was a pool of coal tar. They had been casually thrown into there. They had fallen from a fairly high spot, so their remains were totally buried in it. It took a lot of time and effort to pull their bodies up. Did you find them all? I hoped that they at least would not find Rika-chan or Satako. That's what I wished for when I asked, but my shallow hope was crushed in the blink of an eye. Yes, all of them. In fact, we also found human bones we think are over a decade old. We think there are at least 3 people. I suppose it's the dark side of Hinamizawa's history. I wonder how many people's bones we'll find when we've sucked out all the mud. It's a scary thought. That weight had been pushing down on Mion's shoulders the whole time. Mion, we've currently identified people who disappeared from Shishibone City decades ago. People are talking about how this opportunity might let us resolve the disappearing persons cases that have been abandoned. After a deep silence, he breathed a heavy sigh. Wasey-san went for his cigarettes to pass the time, but realized this was a non-smoking area, so he gave up and put them back in his shirt pocket. Oh, right. This is a bit of a detour, but you know Rika Furude-san, right? Of course. She's my friend. Did she ever tell you anything along the lines of her regularly taking insulin injections for diabetes? Rika-chan has diabetes? I did not know what he was talking about. Actually found it in her shirt pocket. A syringe. It was destroyed though, so we couldn't identify the medicine. It is a bit out of place, so I got interested. You really don't know anything? I didn't know anything about Rika-chan carrying syringes around with her. The Sonozaki family corporates. The Yakuza people. Anyway, there's rumors that they deal in psychostimulants. I was thinking that might have something to do with it too. Are you trying to tell me that Rika-chan is a drug addict? No, not at all. That isn't what I'm saying. It just seems strange, however you look at it, that she would bring a syringe with her on her way to get soy sauce. I have no idea what any of this means. My eyes are spinning. I feel sick. Are you all right? Should I call a nurse? I, I'm fine. Hello, Strawberry System. Welcome to the stream. Hope you're having a great day. Please continue. Well, that's all I had to say about the syringe. It was the only thing that personally struck me as interesting. Rika-chan. Rika-san was sort of like the village mascot after all. And it looks like the village is in an uproar right now. I don't know Umi Neko. Is that something I should look into? I personally haven't played Undertale, and I also don't know Deltarune. For the record, this is also my first time playing the Higurashi games, but I am loving them, even if I'm a little confused how the first game is, excuse me, connected to the second. I'm sure it'll get explained later. It looks like the village is in uproar right now between the older blind believers and the Sonozaki family who killed her. The three families' effective control over the village is basically in shambles too. If someone came up to them with talk of a dam again, with this sort of timing, the entire village would be abandoned for sure this time. The other When They Cry, so like a sequel to the Higurashi or something? Oh, I will definitely have to look into that then. I'm not related to Hinamizawa anymore. I actually was. I just said it because the thought about Hinamizawa being abandoned was unpleasant, and I wanted to end the conversation quickly. There was a knock at the door. It opened slightly, and my mom asked if we were still talking. Whoops. We went off topic, didn't we? What a pickle. I looked at the clock. 5 minutes were long past. He told my mother that there was something he really wanted to ask, and if she could wait a little bit longer. No, no. I'm just they, them. I identify as they, them, so cross-dressing can be kind of fun. And since I'm not comfortable with my physical appearance, I just decided to go ahead and make my avatar cute. Because, if you can make your own avatar, why not make it cute, right? But I myself am not trans, so yeah. Whenever I play role-playing games or make up costumes, I just like going, yeah, I just like going like that because why not, right? Something different. Get in touch with my more feminine side. Is that so? Keep it short, okay? There wasn't any getting around the fact that she was thinking about what a police officer could be talking to her son about. Maybe we could choose another day for this. Oishi-san, Mion, how is she right now? I just wanted to hear that answer and then get rid of him. Before I tell you that, I just need one thing from you. I just need you to answer something in all honesty. Bef- what is it? I want you to take your answer seriously. Got it? If you say something indiscreet, it could be viewed as an obstruction of the investigation and you could be prosecuted. Oishi-san kept threatening me until the end. What the hell did he want? Maebara-san, who do you think the criminal was who pushed Shion from the balcony? Oops. There's no way it could be anyone but Mion, is there? Then who was the one who stabbed you? Please don't make me say it again. It was Mion. Mion Sonozaki. Oishi-san smiled purely, then dabbed at his forehead with a handkerchief to wipe his sweat. He should have expected that answer, and yet looked as though he wasn't satisfied with it. She pushed Shion and stabbed me. Didn't you just admit yourself that Mion was the criminal? The evidence we have that Mion killed Shion is based on testimony from the man living next door. This neighbor is actually a member of an organized crime group. In other words, he was Shion-san's bodyguard. It seems he's a veteran leader in that vein and was like a parent to the Sonozaki sisters growing up. That man said this. The noise he heard from next door was just like the sound of a fight between the sisters that he was used to hearing when they still lived together. And no, there was no doubt about it. He said he heard Mion and Shion insulting each other and heard them struggling. At first, though, he thought it was the hallucination she was having brought on by her dementia. You see, he thought that because this sort of ruckus had been occurring every night. However, that night he had been longer than the rest, and he claimed that he went to her room to give her a sedative. The noise died down while he got the manager to give him the key. He had already decided he would at least check up on her, and after she wasn't answering his calls, they took the plunge and unlocked the door. Then they saw that the room was a mess. Since Shion had been pushed over the balcony, they decided it had to have been Mion, and that's how it happened. In other words, he only heard from the other side of the wall. Plus, because the apartment complex is connected to their organization, it doesn't have many residents, so they were the only ones who heard it happening. To reiterate, there was only one person who witnessed Mion Sonozaki. Even if he didn't see her, isn't it obviously Mion's doing? Now settle down. This is what I'm saying. It means you are the only one who saw Mion Sonozaki for sure last night. After all, Shion-san, the other witness, is no longer alive. What are you trying to say? I don't really understand. At that point, Oishi-san paused. The fact that this was a no-smoking area completely slipped his mind, and he took out his pack of cigarettes again. For check, he lit one with his lighter and exhaled a long stream of tobacco smoke. Were you really stabbed by Mion Sonozaki? Yes, there's no doubt about it. The smoke Oishi-san breathed out floated away like a thundercloud swept away by the wind. Oishi-san, you can't smoke in here. The nurses will get mad. Actually, we found Mion Sonozaki at the bottom of the well too. What? How could you have found Mion at the bottom of... Things are just getting weird in here, man. Was it really a demon that possessed her corpse or something? I mean, that would explain, how she would be able to be at two places at once. What? She fell to her death. We believe that as she was trying to escape to that hidden passage in the well, her foot slipped while climbing down the ladder. She fell to the bottom, broke her neck, and died. Yes, the same way as Shion-san. She broke her neck. Well, what? After you passed out that day, Mion Sonozaki tried to escape using the hidden well, but her foot slipped and she died. As if beckoned by the corpses of the other sacrifices, she dropped down there. But that doesn't make any sense, does it? The autopsy came to the conclusion that she definitely died on that day. She didn't go back there after attacking you and Shion. She was already dead by then. My jaw was on the floor. There was absolutely no way that could be. Mion was the one that stabbed me. It had to have been her. There wouldn't have been anyone else to do it. Then, then, who attacked Shion and me? Who was it? The one who attacked you was someone who was Mion Sonozaki, and yet not Mion Sonozaki. My mind had become a complete mess, and I was starting to lose my ability to think straight. Do you remember how Mio Takano-san died? Takano-san? Ah, yes. I think I heard that she was burned to death in some distant mountains. We learned that she was burned after being strangled to death. The Gifu station did the autopsy. It's a little bit strange. The results of the preliminary autopsy said that she had been dead for at least 24 hours. Since that was contradictory, in their panic, they seem to have revised it to say she died earlier that day. Despite me being an absolute wreck over what was going on with Mion, he was telling me there was even more on top of that. I didn't understand the complex things Oishi-san was telling me. The result saying she had been dead for 24 hours, as our own old criminologist says, is pretty damn reliable. So then what would that mean? I've asked that question over and over, but on the night of Watanagashi, you were with Mio Takano-san, weren't you? I was. You also met her on the day before while setting up for the festival, right? I mean, I ran into her too. Yes, I was with her then. If she had been dead for 24 hours, then that would mean she was already dead the day before the festival. That can't be. She was alive during the festival preparations. However, when you all slipped into the ritual storehouse, Takano-san was already dead. The origin of all that happened, the beginning of everything, our intrusion in the ritual storehouse, which I had come to regret countless times. The one who tempted me, Takano-san, when she invited us into the storehouse, she was already no longer of this world. There are too many dead people walking around in this incident. An incident caused by a dead person and ended by a dead person. Also, apparently they are under pressure to revise the time of Mion Sonozaki's death, not to the day of the incident, but to right after she stabbed you. Probably pressure from the outside to get this incident wrapped up already. So I'd appreciate it if you didn't say a word about this to anyone. Oishi grabbed his jacket that was hanging on the chair and put out a cigarette with the bottom of his foot and started pretending to wave away the smoke floating around. I've stayed too long. I had come here thinking I could at least end this incident as it applied to you, but it looks like it got even more baffling instead. Absent-mindedly, he walked towards the door, looking at me, unable to speak out of the corner of his eye. If it so happens that something comes up you want to talk about in the future, call me any time. My business card is in those souvenirs from before. When that time comes, I'll pay you a visit with some wonderful souvenirs again. Weishi-san seemed to think I was still hiding something. That I, after all this, would be hiding something. I'm the one things are being hidden from. I'm the one who wants to know. Then let us meet again one day. Take care of yourself. I listened to the tap, tap, tap of Oishi-san walking down the hallway. I still could not return from my state of bewilderment. He wanted to end this incident as it applied to me. What was over? Nothing was over. Oops. The incident was still continuing. What is even going on, guys? What's even going on? I sure don't know. Then slip an arm covered in fresh blood came out from underneath the bed. I was not that surprised. This was an illusion I was seeing, seized with fear. Kei-chan, I told you, remember? I heard a guttural voice coming from under the bed. I still recognized it as Mion's voice. What? Mion? What did you tell me? I warned you on that day. After today, if you see me, it will be the demon that has possessed my body. You did. You said that, didn't you? Sorry. Guess I wasn't careful enough. That's why I got stabbed. Possibly wounds sustained when she fell from the ladder. Many of her fingernails were broken and torn. Her arm slowly felt about on top of the bed, searching for mine. Oh, hey, Mion. I just well thought of a good joke. Want to hear it? The Mion under the bed did not answer. Let's say that I died here today, but tomorrow I would still be here living a normal life. So, when Oishi-san learned about it afterwards, the time of death wouldn't make sense once again. He would make a huge deal about how someone who should have died was alive, and he would totally lose his head. Takano-san, then Mion, and then me third. So funny, right? Makes you laugh, doesn't it? Kei-chan, laugh. Or was it not that funny? Mion's bloodstained hand groped around and found my wrist. Though her fingernails were torn, she gripped it hard, as if scratching me. Go easy. It hurts. Kei-chan, I've come for you. I tried to shake my wrist loose, but the strength she held it with was unbelievable, and I couldn't. She was only gripping one wrist, and yet my whole body couldn't move. I couldn't even twitch. My fingers were spread apart, and I couldn't make a fist either. And that fact that I couldn't make a fist reminded me of the restraining table. I felt a crooked nail press against my left pinky fingertip. Mion's forehead was split open, and with a face covered with blood, she smiled and got right up in front of my nose. Nothing was over. Nothing was over. This incident was far from being over. It was still ongoing. It was still happening. Someone please end this incident. This cruel, tragic, unfortunate, sad incident. Please end it. That is my only wish. I granted you one before, remember? You don't get any more. Mion firmly held the nail down on my fingertip, and with her other hand, she slowly swung him out up into the air and hmm. Yeah, not sure what's going on. Really just not sure what's going on. All cast review session. Okay. And of course the achievement for finishing that is the last nail. Of course it is. The last nail. That's smooth. Complete Watanagashi. Still one more achievement that we do not have for the after party, which is probably what we got in the extra. The all cast review session. Okay. Thank you very much for enjoying Higurashi When They Cry Watanagashi. How did you like the story this time? If you enjoyed it even a little, I'm happy. A little nothing. Not again. It was a huge bad ending again, was it not? It is enough to make me simply furious. I'm furious. Well, good work, everyone. Well, that's how it ended, but don't you think the story was kind of like a Mion chapter? I'm extremely satisfied with how big a role I played. You cannot call such a thing a success. Rika and I got killed too, didn't we? None of this concerns Satako at all, either. I didn't want to die like that. Now, don't cry. There was a story centering around Mi-chan, so there will probably be one that centers around Satako-chan too. Look forward to it. Satako would definitely get attacked by a crowd of weirdo boys and abused to death. I don't want that. Mi-chan, if you joke around too much, you'll make me angry too. Mi has a flat chest. Your mind wouldn't understand even if it wanted to be petted. Oh, they expanded. Your body is so unchaste. Hey everyone, great work. Sorry we're late again. Tomitake-san, Oishi-san. Yes, you did a great job as well. Where are Takano-san and Shion-chan? They are coming, of course. Thank you for inviting us today. May I sit here? Yes, go right ahead. With all of us here, this is sure to be the best part. Please go easy on me. Then should we get started? Is this everyone? Everyone but Keiichi. Which means May Barakan still doesn't have a portrait. So, are we going to read the scripts for the next story immediately? How unfortunate. It doesn't feel right to leave him out. Mio-san, you don't have to worry about that. At times like these, going all out is actually a way of showing consideration. That's true, isn't it? We're all here for once. Holding a week would be boring. Then, sorry Keiichi, but we will take things from here. It's decided. Okay everyone, get the cups. Does anyone not like carbonated drinks? There's alcohol for the adults too. Rika-chan, what will you have? Cola? Juice? Me? Oops. I want what Tomitake-san's having. Hey, Rika-chan, you are not allowed to drink. Has everyone got their cups? If we don't make a toast soon, my juice will get warm. Who will lead me on? Rena should do it. Okay, Rena, go ahead. Then, everyone, excellent work. The Watanagashi chapter is now over. Thank you. Okay, everybody's here. Shall we debate the story again? I think so. Then let's get some honest opinions. Does anyone here have something to say? An honest opinion was the story this time, not an answer chapter. The criminal was Mion-san. The root of all the evil was the Sunzaki family. Was that not the conclusion? I see. I was so sure that Mi-chan was not the criminal. Too naive. This was entirely predictable from the previous Oni Kikuchi chapter, was it not? In fact, it's almost shocking how predictable it was. You are right. It probably did align with most of the predictions made by players of the previous scenario. It's like the story went exactly as everyone expected. Then, does that mean the main Higurashi when they cry scenario was pretty much over? So it's a sure thing that the root of everything was Mi-chan's family. I wonder. In fact, I think this all means the theory of the Sunzakis being the guilty party has been disproven. Oh, you had the same opinion, Mio-san. I think the same way. Though I still don't believe in curses. At the very least, however, I think the chances of the Sunzaki family being the true criminals has gone down. Huh? Why is that? Didn't Mi-chan confess that she killed everyone? That's right. She killed Rika and me, so what do you mean she isn't the criminal of that after all? I'm not trying to confuse you or anything. It's just that I think there are a lot of things that don't go along with Mion being the one behind everything. If you think about it a little, you will get it. Huh? I had believed the truth to be more or less in line with the Sonozaki family theory, but I would love to hear your theory, Mion-chan. Then hear me out. Near the end, I confessed that I had participated in the past incidents, right? I thought something wasn't really right about that, so I guess that's my basis. I mean, think about it. If the incidents of the past were caused by the Sonozaki family, that would be crazy. I mean, wouldn't they all be perfect crimes? They were all attributed to other criminals or simple accidents after all. Well, that's right. The Sonozaki family is very powerful and they were acting behind the scenes. Wouldn't pulling off perfect crimes be child's play for them? That's just it. That's the weird thing. The Sonozaki family had been killing and erasing people so well for the last 4 years, they didn't even let out a hint that they were behind it, right? But the incident in the 5th year, now that was really cheap. They were killing and erasing people at random. Any idiot could see the connection with the Sonozaki family. Now that I think about it, you are right. The incidents in the past were all mysteries, and nobody could tell if they were because of the curse or just simple crimes. But then on the 5th year, they suddenly got really violent. I do not understand what you're saying. Rika, do you? She means that if the Sonozaki family were the real criminals, then they would have done a much better job with the incident on the 5th year. So what does that mean? Mion-san wasn't the one who killed Rika and me, but it was the work of the demon who possessed Mion-san? Come now. Just like I thought last time, Mion-san wasn't a bad person after all, was she? That's right. Satako-chan and I both thought that she was doing bad things because she was possessed by something. Then, does that mean our theory was right? I've been supporting the curse theory since the last after party, and the story this time makes me all the more convinced it's true. That fact revealed at the very end. The information regarding how Mion-san and Takano-san had died days before, despite being witnessed, seems to indeed support that theory. Oh my. I see the curse believers who seemed unconfident last time have grown quite a bit more self-assured. Do any of those who think it was a human have any objections? Last time, Mi-chan and Rika-chan were the ones who thought it was the work of a person. Tomitake-san did too, didn't he? Okay, let's hear what you've got then. You've got me there. I can't quite find the right words. One of the pieces of evidence for the curse theory is the mismatching times of death, right? So if I could disprove that theory, it would prove that a human did it, wouldn't it? Oh, Shion, do you have a good objection? Well, I suppose. I have the same opinion as you, Mion, that was a human. I don't think the Sonozaki family were the main culprits either. If it's okay with you, I will offer my objections. Show us what you've got. If you say it wasn't the curse, then let's hear your evidence. Okay, Shion-chan, that last trick we've been talking about. Despite Mion-chan having died the day of the incident from falling into the well, how did she appear days later to kill you and Keiichi-kun? Here it is, my Sonozaki sister's conspiracy theory. My reason is simple. If Mion was dead by that time, then the only one who could have stabbed Kei-chan was me. I disguised myself as Mion and stabbed him. Then I went back to my room, pretended to have a tussle with the ghost, then jumped right down and killed myself. So when you get down to it, Mion-chan in this case would be the one to take the blame. She would take care of the mayor in person, and Shion-chan would be made into merely a victim. If she hid herself in the well, the disguised Shion-chan could show up where she pleased and murder whoever she wanted, all planned from the start. I get it. Then Mion-san made two mistakes. First was that her corpse was found, and second was dying when she planned to hide. That's what it would mean. Oh, well now, you are right. There's something logical about that. However, I'm still not convinced. It was too different from the magnificent, perfect crimes in the past. Even if their plan went well, Mion would end up the bad guy, wouldn't she? She would either have to hide the rest of her life or live pretending to be Shion, wouldn't she? That would be too constrained. You can't call that a perfect crime. In other words, whether by dying or disappearing, Mi would have to go away. Rika-chan, that's a good thought. That means we should consider that Mion Sonozaki leaving the stage was part of their plan. That's why, at the end, Mion took the blame for all the incidents in the past. She took responsibility for all of them herself, then left. By doing that, she could cover up the true culprit behind the past incidents, which means that this incident wasn't shabby. Its purpose was to cement all the past incidents as perfect crimes. I suppose that's what it comes down to. The young leader of the Sonozaki family, who was the biggest suspect, confessed to everything and disappeared. For her, or perhaps for the non-Sonozaki true culprit, there likely was no more favorable outcome. I don't understand even an inch of your conversation. What do you mean by Mion-san taking the blame? Is she not the culprit? Let me put it this way. The true culprit behind the serial freak death instance was somebody else. Mi-chan gave a fake confession that she caused all the previous incidents to protect that person, or so everyone's saying. My, I said this during the story, but seems we have an incredible detective on our hands. Yes, it does seem a bit persuasive. An incident started to throw the scent off the true criminal. That's my reasoning. Though if I go further, I think the true culprit isn't part of the Sonozaki family. So it was Mion-chan disrupting the incident to further protect the mystery person who pulled off perfect crimes 4 years running then. That's right. The site foreman only appeared in name in the last story. Pretty suspicious if you ask me. Amazing. It really does all add up. I still think the Sonozaki family and the sisters are culprits, though. An incident caused by the sisters to sever their old fetters to the three families to clear away the past. That's my theory. Clearing away the past. You mean that they placed the blame for the three families' crimes on their final leader, Mion, to put an end to a dark history, and then the two of them left. That's right. It would make it a sad story where the sisters finally choose to end it after a lot of worry. We went a little too far. Amazing. It really does all add up. Wait, what? It looks like Rika-chan has an opinion too. Go ahead, Rika-chan. I have a question for you all. Why did Keiichi need to get stabbed? We already know why that is, Rika. It's obviously because he went in the Forbidden Storehouse without asking. Thinking back on it now, Tomitake-kun and Takano-san probably died in the previous story because they snuck into that storehouse, eh? That is rather strange indeed. Why is it that strange? Rena-san, that's right. Won't you think back, please? That's right. In the previous scenario, they were after Keiichi's life, even though he did not sneak into the ritual storehouse. Well, that's because Hinamizawa hates outsiders, right? That's why they tried to kill Keiichi-kun. That would be strange, though. They should have attacked Kei-chan's parents, too, in that case. No matter how you look at it, though, his parents never seemed to be in much danger, either this time or the last. Here's that, everyone who thinks it was a human's doing, unless you can properly explain the reason Keiichi-san's life was threatened. You can't definitely prove the criminal was human, can you? Even with the curse theory, however, we don't know why Maebara-san was attacked this time or last time. With a little more, we would have had it. There are still a lot of mysteries remaining. We can find some kind of reason for everyone but Keiichi-kun to die, but for some reason Keiichi-kun's death is always vague, both this time and last time. He was being targeted regardless of whether he went into the ritual storehouse. Then does that not mean he was doing something that got him killed both last time and this time? I see. If we can find something common about Maebara-kun's actions between last time and this time, it seems like it would be the key to unraveling all the incidents. I skimmed through the stories again, but I think he's going about his life in his own way. Though aside from the part with the storehouse, I didn't spot anything suspicious about his daily lifestyle. Keiichi-kun, what did you do both last time and this time? Something bad that would cause you to be killed. It's best to ask the person himself when you are unsure. So while I was reading the script for the next game all by myself, you were all talking about me behind my back, huh? I see. Well, that's that. Anyway, Keiichi-kun, you should try asking your own heart. Kei-chan, so what kind of bad thing did you do to that would get you killed? It must surely be all the violent things he does towards me. Squeezing my chest so tightly was surely a crime. Yeah. Being happy all day surrounded by girls his age is kind of like a crime in the first place. A grave crime indeed. Maebara-san is truly an envious main character, isn't he? Switch out with me once in a while, would you? Well, with all these perks, getting stabbed at the end really wasn't much of a price to pay. Well, there you go, Keiichi-kan. Have you remembered the crimes you committed? Both this time and last time, I live a proper and just life, and I always meet a terrible fate in the end. What was that about Ask My Own Heart? I'm the one who wants to know. This is bullying. How sad, how sad. I'll pet your head next time for you. I wonder if we should go back and read Onikakushi again after reading this one. I'm going to put myself in Mion's shoes and read back over Watanagashi. Maybe I'll find something different compared to when I read it from Kei-chan's point of view. I will always think it was the doing of a demon. All of the events and tricks can be explained with a demon. It's kind of like plasma. What did you, the readers, think about it? We would certainly like to hear your thoughts and opinions. Through the mail, is there an address? Is there an address? Who knows? I don't. And that is Higurashi Watanagashi. That's all of it, so we are going to take a facility break and then move on to chapter 3.